Okay, so how can you tell that your family is growing and not getting stuck? Now, I know you guys are all right, but how do you know that you're doing better? Well, in the next few minutes, I'll be taking you through specific ways to track your journey so you can prove to yourself that you guys are indeed growing. Hey, welcome back, guys. And I'll say this, that one of the hardest things about parenting is the fact that none of us know what we're doing, and we're not sure that the things that we're actually doing are getting our kids to where they want to go. And I have to say that the fear of not knowing, the fear of not being able to tell is something that can get us as parents stuck. I want to remove that insecurity for you as a parent and give you some specific ways to track the growth in your family so you know that there's progress and you'll be able to tell the areas and ways that you need to adjust to make sure you're going in the right direction. So I want to talk about two main ways that we use to measure the track and growth of anything. All right, one is the quantitative perspective and the other is a qualitative perspective. And so I'm going to discuss these two, and let's get started with quantitative. I'm going to break this down and explain exactly what I mean by each one, right? So quantitative, imagine being able to sit down, fill out a form, and be able to tell the exact percentile that your family and your kids and you fall in the context of the development of what's appropriate for your family. That's amazing. I want that. I know you want that. And I have good news and bad news about it. All right. So the good news is that this is totally possible. The bad news is that this is never going to be possible for you to do as a parent. All right. Now, let me explain what I mean and where I'm coming from with this. With quantitative data collection, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of variables that you need to control. You have to do a lot of work to get the amount of data needed to prove beyond correlation or causation. You're also going to need to look at biases and you're going to have to test in a way that controls the actual treatments and interventions and the responses that you're getting from it. It's totally possible because there are people at universities that do these quantitative experiments all day to understand how things progress. But it's not going to be possible for you because by the time you get your formula to work, your kids are going to be grown. And by then, for sure, you're going to know whether you were a failure or not. I'm bringing this up because some of us as parents get stuck because we look for data and evidence to prove whether we're doing a good job or not. And we're not being fair to ourselves because we keep looking for bits of information and trying to prove that as evidence of our success or failure. I want you all to know that what that child just did today is just data. It's not evidence of anything. It's not time to put your judgment on what they did. It is time to look at that curiously and consider what this piece of data means. Quantitative data collection is great. We all want it as a default, but it's not something that we should set ourselves up to try to expect, which is why we have got to go over to the qualitative data collection. And this is where it's at. This is where we're going to find the most value as parents. So qualitative data collection, qualitative process of tracking your journey focuses more on the quality of the journey as opposed to the bits and pieces of data, right? So instead of zooming in and looking at exactly what that child did, we're going to kind of zoom out and look at the entire journey and look at the life and their behavior in the context of milestones, of movements of life. So things like starting school and in that period of life, things like losing a loved one. What you'll be able to do is generate information from before, during, and after. And all that together will give you a better sight of the child, but also a better sight of the interventions and the things that you're doing so that you can begin to critique, adjust, and do better to get things in the direction that you want them to go. So let me give you some practical steps and ways that we can begin to gather this and make this kind of record tracking for our family possible. So guys, in order to take all of this in and to do this effectively, one of the crucial things that's going to have to happen is you're going to have to learn to journey, not just live, right? It's not just about getting through the day, You're going to have to back up and understand the seasons that you're in and realize and equate value to the seasons as they happen. So one of the most important ways to help you begin to track the journey and be able to see the progress happen in your family is to go back and reclaim your routines and rituals. Structure, family structure and boundaries is crucial. All right, and here's the analogy. When you go for a hike, there's oftentimes a hiking trail that's mapped out for you. It comes with specific boundaries and rules state on this trail. And so when you look at your map and look at the destination of where you want to go, you'll be able to get there because of those signposts, the trail that's marked out, that you were able to set up and comply with. So structure as a family is important. So when I say rituals and routines, I'm talking about things like ensuring that there's family time together, ensuring that you guys are actually doing your routine family rituals. Sundays, you guys have, a dessert pizza, night, or, different things that is specific to your family. But also I'm bringing in things like your reward system, your behavioral charts. I often tell families to set up 3 main rules in your home. Everything else is negotiable besides those 3 rules. And what'll happen over time is your kids will be able to master one of those rules. You can take that down and put a new one up. And again, you're tracking progress. You're actually seeing, hey, we started here and we're now at this place. And those things, those structures, that map, those trails, those boundaries are all important to helping you be able to discern that a journey is taking place and that progress is being made. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now let's get into this next piece, which is the idea of journaling, of actually allowing the experiences to come together. As parents, we have a lot of creative ways to journal. You can send an email to yourself at the end of the day, or send it to a special family account. So that you're collecting memories, you're collecting pictures, stories, words, or experiences that the kids have said. What you'll be able to do over time is go back and look at and review some of the emails that you sent in the times past. So I've seen, parents doing other creative ways, like a private Instagram account. Pictures are being taken and it's just being stored in this private account that no one has access to except you and whoever else you choose. That's an important thing, just to be able to track, to journal, to capture these moments and store them away. And look, I'll say this, that oftentimes your phone does this for you. Anytime you take your camera out to take a picture, it's stored in the cloud somewhere, and you can go back and look at the times. And maybe it'd be good to make a note on these pictures and actually track, hey, here's some of the things that we're learning. Here's the things that we went through at this specific time and season. And this is one of the key things that the kids were growing in, right? All of that will help you over time be able to tell and prove to yourself that you guys are not stuck and that there is progress. So I want to talk about one last thing and then I'll leave it, which is essentially this idea of, look guys, you have to learn the skill of being present, okay? You won't be able to track the journey of progress if you're constantly living in this hope for this thing that you're trying to get in the future, or a place you're trying to be, or this compliance that you're trying to get from the kids. You have to also learn the skill of being present, right? And actually living in the moment and experience of the win of what's happening, or the discouragement or hurt of what you're experiencing. All those things incredibly important to the progress of your family. That's it, guys. I, again, appreciate your participation. I have one of my kids at the door right now knocking, so I have to go. But together, let's keep moving forward. Take care.